Cunningham's cuddle demand to Caitlin Clark fuels Fever reunion buzz.
Before getting into roster mechanics and expansion strategy, we need to address the absolute chaos that erupted in the comment sections. Instead of focusing on basketball, chemistry, or strategy, certain corners of the internet immediately tried to turn a friendly interaction into manufactured drama. Some fans went as far as questioning Caitlin Clark's personal life, asking invasive and completely inappropriate questions that had nothing to do with the sport. Let's be clear, that noise is nonsense. Clark is openly committed to Connor McCaffrey. Sophie Cunningham is straight. Two teammates joking online does not equal controversy. Period. This kind of distraction is exactly what makes covering women's basketball exhausting at times, because normal interactions get twisted into tabloid-style speculation. Once we strip away that distraction, we can finally focus on what actually matters: basketball value and league impact. Here's the part that should truly grab your attention. Sophie Cunningham isn't just another role player. During her single season in Indiana, she became the second most Googled female athlete in the entire United States, not just in basketball, but across all women's sports. That is extraordinary. She landed a podcast deal with Colin Cowherd's Media Network. She appeared on major sports platforms. She built a following that extends far beyond Fever fans. And she did all of that in just 1 year wearing an Indiana jersey. Yes, her personality plays a role. Yes, she's media savvy. But the truth is unavoidable. Playing next to Caitlin Clark amplifies visibility in ways the WNBA has never seen before. Clark's gravitational pull doesn't just elevate herself. It elevates everyone around her. Sophie Cunningham is living proof of that effect. From Indiana's perspective, this creates a unique dilemma. Cunningham isn't just valuable as a basketball piece. She's valuable as a brand asset. She brings attention, engagement, and national relevance. In a league that just signed a historic media deal, those qualities matter more than ever. The Instagram exchange made that impossible to ignore. It wasn't simply a nostalgic moment. It was a reminder of how modern sports operate. Chemistry, marketability, and fan connection now sit alongside points, rebounds, and efficiency ratings. And Indiana has to decide whether it fully understands that shift or risks learning the hard way.
Many Indiana Fever fans want nothing more than for their team to bring Sophie Cunningham back in free agency this winter, whenever the WNBA league office and its players agree to a new CBA. Of course, Cunningham isn't the only member of the Indiana 2025 team that fans are clamoring to bring back, as Kelsey Mitchell is just as beloved among the fan base. But while Mitchell might make more of an impact on the court compared to Cunningham, the latter's off-court charisma and star power have endeared her to the Fever fan base to an impressive degree.
Now we arrive at the real issue, the expansion draft. With Portland and Toronto joining the WNBA, every existing team must prepare to lose players. The rules are unforgiving. Most teams will only be allowed to protect 5 or 6 players. That's it. Everyone else becomes vulnerable. For Indiana, some choices are automatic. Caitlin Clark is untouchable. Aaliyah Boston is untouchable. Lexi Hull and Alyssa Smith are almost certainly protected as well. That already uses up the majority of Indiana's available slots, which leaves the Fever in an extremely tight spot. Both Kelsey Mitchell and Sophie Cunningham are unrestricted free agents. Both have expressed interest in returning. From a salary cap standpoint, Indiana can afford to bring both back. That's not the issue. The problem is protection. If Indiana re-signs both players before the expansion draft, they may be forced to protect both, burning 2 precious protection slots. That would expose someone else important to Portland or Toronto. If they don't protect Sophie, however, the risk is enormous. Expansion teams aren't just looking for solid players. They're hunting for recognizable names, media-friendly personalities, players who can sell tickets on day one. Sophie Cunningham checks every single box. If she's left unprotected, she's almost guaranteed to be selected, possibly with the first pick. Portland and Toronto are entering a league transformed by Caitlin Clark's popularity. They understand that star power matters. Sophie brings instant credibility, instant attention, and instant fan engagement. That makes her expansion draft gold. Indiana knows this, which is why the decision is so difficult. Protecting Sophie may cost them elsewhere. Not protecting her may cost them far more in the long run.
She was also the only player in the entire league that we sat back and witnessed literally physically defend Caitlin Clark on the court. Just keeping it real. Watched a lot of other teammates just stand around while Sophie trying to scrap.
There's another element that analytics simply can't capture: protection. Go back and watch last season. Every time Caitlin Clark took a hard hit, every time opponents crossed the line, every time things got physical, one player consistently stepped in. Sophie Cunningham. Not with words, not with post-game quotes, with action. She confronted players in real time. She absorbed the physical energy of the game. She made it clear that Clark was not standing alone. That matters. In a league where Clark will continue to draw aggressive defense and targeted physical play, having a teammate willing to step up is invaluable. Indiana had players with better box score numbers, but none who provided that specific type of loyalty and toughness. Cunningham also fit seamlessly next to a ball-dominant guard. She didn't demand touches. She didn't complain about minutes. She defended hard, knocked down open shots, took charges, and brought energy off the bench. Those are championship traits. Indiana's turnaround last season wasn't just about Clark's arrival. It was about balance. Veterans like Cunningham stabilized the roster and allowed Clark to thrive without carrying everything alone. Losing that kind of presence isn't just losing a player, it's losing identity.
Indiana doesn't necessarily have to choose when it comes to getting Cunningham or Mitchell. Both players have expressed interest in returning. The Fever's front office will have enough money and flexibility to re-sign them. Both.
Now comes the hardest truth from a pure basketball standpoint. Kelsey Mitchell is the superior scorer. She averaged 17 points per game and has been Indiana's offensive engine for years. If the decision were purely about numbers, Mitchell would be the obvious choice. But modern sports aren't that simple anymore. The WNBA's new media deal jumped from $50 million annually to roughly $200 million. That didn't happen because of advanced analytics or parity. It happened because Caitlin Clark brought unprecedented attention. Entertainment value now drives revenue. In that environment, a player like Sophie Cunningham carries weight beyond traditional evaluation. She connects with casual fans. She generates buzz. She complements Clark perfectly. And most importantly, Clark wants her back. That matters. When a generational superstar publicly signals trust in a teammate, front offices should listen. Not emotionally, but strategically. Indiana now faces an off-season defining choice. Protect both and lose someone else. Protect one and risk backlash. Or gamble and hope the expansion teams look elsewhere. Whatever they choose will shape their future and possibly haunt them if they get it wrong. One thing is certain, Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham are ready to run it back. The question is whether the Fever front office is ready to make it happen. Wait a second, because this is where things suddenly get very interesting. Sophie Cunningham casually posts a throwback clip featuring Caitlin Clark, and within minutes, the entire WNBA internet explodes. What looked like a harmless social media moment quickly turned into one of the most talked-about storylines of the offseason. Clark responds with just 3 simple words, yet those words carry far more weight than anyone expected. Then Sophie fires back with playful banter about cuddling and home-cooked meals. On the surface, it feels like nothing more than teammates joking around. But underneath the humor lies a massive franchise-altering question, one that could directly shape the future of the Indiana Fever. This isn't just about vibes or friendship. This moment landed at the worst or best possible time. The league is frozen. Free agency is on hold. Collective bargaining negotiations are stalled. Expansion teams are looming. Every roster decision now carries consequences that extend far beyond the current season. And suddenly, a few lighthearted comments have thrown a spotlight directly onto Indiana's front office. The timing is critical. With Portland and Toronto entering the league, every team must prepare for an expansion draft that will inevitably strip talent from existing rosters. Protection slots are limited. Hard choices are unavoidable. And when a franchise player publicly signals who she wants beside her, it instantly complicates those decisions. That's what made Clark's response resonate so loudly. Time to run it back. 3 words, but in this context, they read like a statement of intent. Not a joke, not fan service, a message. It tells us that Clark values continuity, chemistry, and trust. And it tells us that Sophie Cunningham is part of that vision. Sophie's playful reply only reinforced the point. Yes, it was humorous. Yes, it showed personality. But it also confirmed mutual interest. Both players want this partnership to continue. Both are comfortable making that clear in public. And when athletes do that, especially in today's media-driven league, it usually means something deeper is at play. This exchange wasn't random. It wasn't accidental. It was a reminder that relationships matter, especially when a league is undergoing massive structural change. Indiana now finds itself under pressure, not just from fans or media, but from a reality that their superstar has spoken. And when that happens, ignoring it becomes a risk.